So guys, we are going to break down one of the videos about Trinity showing why it's inconsistent.
What does it mean?
Aseity is self-existence, right?
Okay. Is Jesus self-existing?
Yeah,
Yeah?
yeah.
So he doesn't need the Father to generate him eternally.
Well, if you're talking about aseity, in regards to the essence, he has aseity.
No.
He doesn't rely on anything
No.
outside of his own essence to exist.
That wasn't my question.
Now, when you're talking about the economy, when you're talking about the relations within the persons, then he is begotten from the Father.
Here, Mr. Dodgy Logic doesn't seem to realize that existence is a necessary property of God. God cannot be God if he ceases to exist. It's not only God. If I don't exist, I am not me. So existence is property of the essence, not the hypostasis. The property of hypostasis is not necessary property for being God. Jesus' hypostasis property is that he is son, not the others. You don't have to be a son to be God. So the hypostasis properties are not necessary properties. The properties of the essence are necessary or essential properties. Existence is essential property. Remember, God cannot be God if he ceases to exist. And existence has two categories, either aseity or not aseity. So saying Jesus is self-existent due to his being but dependent on the Father for his existence due to personhood has two major contradictions. One, existence is property of both the essence and personhood. Existence is both a necessary property and an unnecessary property. That's a contradiction. Number two, Jesus is both self existent and not self existent. And remember, this contradictory nature both belongs to the divine nature. So you can do the divine nature and human nature appeal, which is also a contradiction by itself. So you exist because you always existed, or you exist because of Father. If you want to appeal that Jesus has two contradictory category of existence, and existence is somehow both necessary property and an unnecessary property because it's a mystery, then why can't atheists apply same logic to universe? The essence of the universe is self-existent. The hypostasis of the universe is not self-existent. And let's see how you prove that God exists in the first place. Universe is generated or Jesus is generated. Both are hypostasis property. Universe and Jesus are both self-existent in its essence. According to your logical framework, we don't need God to explain universe at all. You can do special pleading for your God.
You keep switching from when talking about being and personhood. You think that properties of being are being applied to personhood. You don't even know you're doing that.
So Dodgy Logic says that properties of being cannot be applied to the personhood. Like I said, existence cannot be property of essence and hypostasis. Fair enough? Let's see if he maintains that or not.
You said that aseity always has to do with ontology, your essence. So since it always has to do with the essence, then because Jesus has the same essence as the Father, he is ase. He's self-existent.
Self-existing.
Yes.
So he doesn't need the Father.
When you do that, so notice what you're doing.
What I'm doing is exactly what he doesn't want to answer.
Switching.
He doesn't want to answer.
So this guy is thinking aseity is necessary property of the being, not aseity is not necessary property of the being. That's not how it works. Existence is necessary property of the being, so both its categories are also necessary properties of the being. If God is not self-existent, he cannot exist. If I don't depend on God for my existence, I cannot exist. Not aseity is necessary property of my essence.
Because they flip-flop terms. They act like being is personhood and personhood is being. Okay? So what he just said is that okay, since we're talking about being,
He depends on his Father.
Okay, is the Son generated by the Father? That's
You
the
said that right.
personhood. So that's a relational property of hypostasis or personhood, not the essence.
So Mr. Dodgy Logic accused Hashim of flip flopping while he did it himself. Suddenly, existence is property of the personhood. At first, Jesus' existence was part of the essence. Now, Jesus' existence is part of the hypostasis. Nice flip flop you got there, Mr. Dodgy Logic.